Well, hello. We're coming at you in stereo today. And in this episode, we're going to look at a remote control from an old Macintosh CD player. Some of the buttons aren't working. We're going to take a look at this one and see if we can figure out what's wrong with it. Won't you join us?
I have a Macintosh HR7008 remote control. This is for a CD player, and as we can clearly see, some of the buttons aren't working. Like 3 doesn't work, 4, 5, 6 works, single doesn't work, 1, 2, 3, and 4 work, 5 doesn't work, 6, 7, and 8 work, 9 doesn't work, 0 and clear work, cancel doesn't work, review, enter, scan, repeat, mode work, data doesn't work, rewind doesn't, but fast forward does, back and next, play, volume up and down, random doesn't work, pause doesn't work, and stop does. So as you can see, some of the buttons aren't working. This is going to be a key scan type network of the buttons. So let's see what's gone wrong with this one. Remove the batteries. Looks like batteries have gone corroded. If we look down here, we can see some gunge from the batteries. So more than likely, the fault on this is due to battery leakage. Has damaged a trace on the circuit board. That's what I think probably the fault is on this. So we're going to open this one up and see whether we can repair the damage and make those buttons functional. A couple screws hold this one together. And also likely has clips. We pop out the screws and we should be able to pry the unit open and then release the clips. And as you can see, there is signs that there has been liquid that's entered on this one. Circuit board should lift out. We'll take out the little window. Circuit board should lift out to reveal the damage. And there is indications that there is damage on the circuit board. You can see the wires here, indication that there's damage there. Also, there's an indication that there's damage on this trace here. You can see the corrosion, and there's some more. So let's look at the layout first of all of the traces. We see that the buttons on the left side were the ones that weren't working, right, with the exception of stop. And if we look at where stop is configured, you see stop is going through a different trace. These ones here are all connected together. There's some, looks like could be some damage as well right there. And some more damage right here. But the big place where there's damage, you can see it on this trace along the bottom here. Put the batteries back in, and we take the rubber keypad. We put it over top. We can see which buttons work. That one there does, but the next one does not. So that one works, and the rest of the ones up here on this row do not work till we get up to here. So from here down, what is common from those down? Right there, more than likely, because the next row up works, but there's some damage right there. You can see it. I'm looking to see which traces are connected to which, because on this there's a lot of these carbon traces that just are basically painted on. Definitely there's damage down here, looks like. There's some corrosion right down on this trace. where it goes. That looks like it's the negative battery terminal though, so if it was damaged excessively, unless there's another path, then nothing would work. But this trace here certainly looks like it's been burned through all the way up here, all the way up through here. There's corrosion. But I don't think that's the one that's causing our problem. Only because this is the negative trace. It's connected to the negative terminal of the battery, and it goes all the way around here and supplies power up to this capacitor, which is the filter cap. Same with the positive. So if this one was open, we wouldn't have any operation whatsoever. So we're working as far as this one's working. So these next ones down are not. That one's 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 not. And this one, that one's not. And this one is. So we have to look to see which ones are connected to which. That's connected to that, which is connected to this one. It comes across here. None of them are going to work now because the negative terminal just broke off here, off the battery, but it's also possible that one of the key scan inputs on the IC has come disconnected. If we measure continuity between different traces, you'll see that we'll have continuity. Like for example, if I measure between this one here and over here, where does it go? That one and this one, we should have continuity. Sorry, this one here and this one, continuity there. And if I follow that through, it comes up to there. So you have a continuity there. But if I look at these other ones that are not working, I have no continuity here. I have no continuity here. I have no continuity here. And that's likely because the trace is damaged right somewhere in between here. Because if you see on the board, this trace goes across like that, but I've got nothing. It's open. Same with that one. Let's just see what resistance it's measuring. I got 4 megs. This one's got 300K. This one's open. No, 100 or 200K. No, it's going open. So these traces, there's damage here. Between these ones, between that one and that one. If we look at the meter, I'm going to write this off. If we look at the meter, for example, if I measure through the copper here, I've got 1 ohm. But if I go over to where the carbon pad connects, it's like 1.8 mega ohms. If we look at some other carbon pads from one carbon pad to the next, it's like, it's like 16 ohms, right? So these are the resistor divider network. The resistance is determined by the length of the carbon. So when you press a key switch, it goes through the different carbons and the resistance is added up between the different keys. This is how they do a key scan. So one key might have 30K on it, the next key will have 40K or 1K or 2K, and it divides the resistance between them. But these here should be like between the pads themselves, these should be connected to the copper. This is 600, 600K, 0.7 megohms. Well, there's no way that copper should be 700 megohms. Even when I measure over to here, you see, this is copper to copper, 1 ohm. But here to this pad here, it's 600K, 400K. Between other ones, we're talking 12 ohms, 11 ohms. So there's a connection problem between the copper and the carbon, which is forming the resistor. And it's going to be because battery acid from the batteries leaked onto the board, and it's got underneath here and it's damaged it. I don't know any way that this is actually going to be repairable, because it doesn't use discrete resistors for the resistor ladder. It's using these carbon painted resistors, and once they fail due to liquid getting onto them, or in this case battery acid, they're pretty much a lost cause. They're not designed to be repaired. So in light of the damage here on the board, I'm going to wash my hands of this one, because even if I were to get it to run, I don't think there's any expectation that it's going to last any length of time. Once you've had battery acid leak into a remote control or any electronic device where it's caused damage, it's no different than capacitors that leak onto a board. Once you've had capacitors leaking onto a board, there's really no way you can guarantee that this thing is going to last. You can see on the board here where there's indications that we've had moisture or something get in, and the connection between the copper and the carbon here is no good. See, this one works and then the rest of them don't, so the break is somewhere between here, probably right there. But the break is bad because all these ones on this particular trace no longer work. This one doesn't work down here either, but of course this one down here does, because it's not on that same trace. This one's also bad, right? But anyway, I think I'm going to just leave this one as it is. There's no way that I could guarantee that this thing is going to operate, and they're just going to have to try to find another remote for it. It just is not worth fixing. And it was made by Mitsumi. Probably an off-the-shelf remote. They just clip certain keys off so that only certain buttons work, because there's rubber pads under here that the buttons have been cut off, like in here, and there's other buttons along here that are no longer, or not connected. So I'm sure it's probably pretty off the shelf. Now my hands stink like battery acid. All the ones that worked before work again. I'm just going to put it back together and we'll be done on this one, because there's just nothing I can do that I could ever warranty that it's going to work. Unfortunately, once battery acid gets into remote controls, it's pretty much a death sentence for them. And sometimes you get lucky and you can fix them. Like if it's just sweat that's gotten in, you can usually fix them up. Although this particular type, with the carbon traces like this, it's even more difficult, because once the carbon gets wet, whether it's sweat or whether it's battery acid, it's going to break down and it's going to break the connection, and then they stop working. Unfortunate, but that's just the way that it is sometimes. So make sure that the buttons that worked before work. Oh, what the heck? Now this one's working? Well, that one, oh, one's working, 5's not. 9's not. 0 works, 6. 7, 8. Yeah, these buttons down the side here. Data's working. Stop works. Yeah, same buttons are working as before. These ones down here don't work. Oh well. We give it a try. That's it. Thanks for watching.